Shalom family, coming back at you with episode 2. I'm connecting all these together with the mark of the beast and it being here right now. Since President Trump has came into office, this man has had the plan of how to wrap Jacob up, how to push the world into World War III, and how to enact this mark. He just signed something into Congress called the Genius Act, and this video that we're going to watch explains the Genius Act and maybe be able to give you a little bit of insight of how to move as we go through Jacob's trouble and accepting this mark in this time. I want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai. I want to call on his power and his glory while I deliver this message. Let's get into it.
If you have money in any bank account, what I'm about to show you could save or cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. The Genius Act just became law and it's about to change
Now keep in mind, don't give any confidence into this Edomite, but just take the information that he's given. Our power and our glory resides in Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai.
everything about how Americans store and access their money. Wall Street is salivating at the chance to get their hands on your retirement savings through a sophisticated new system that most people don't even know exists. By the end of this video, you know exactly how to protect yourself from what could be the biggest wealth transfer from Main Street to Wall Street. Vietnam just froze 86 million bank accounts overnight.
So Vietnam froze 86 million bank accounts overnight, right? Vietnam is another country. But understand, we're all connected. What's happening there is going to happen here as it plays out in prophecy.
Overnight. That's nearly the entire population of the country. They introduced mandatory biometric verification, or you'd lose.
So in the last video, we just seen that UK is introducing mandatory digital IDs. Again, this is another country and they've already been moving in full swing with this. So as they move and introduce and show mistakes and also things that went well, we're going to be able to look from their mistakes and be able to do things and ramp up this system quicker here in America.
It's access to your money. This all started on September 1st, when accounts without facial scans or fingerprints were just deleted. Now, foreign residents, for example, have to fly back to Vietnam just to save their HSBC account. I actually have an account in Vietnam. Well, I used to, I no longer do. It's just gone. Was there money in it? I'm not sure.
So they just deleted these accounts, right? And if we look in the book of Revelations, chapter 13, verse 17, it reads, "And that no man may buy or sell, save he that have the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name," right? So you're not going to be able to buy or sell unless you comply with this demon system. What we should be relying, as Israelites, as followers of Christ, what we should be relying on is the faith in Jesus Christ and keeping his commandments. Keeping the commandments that Yahweh had put forth.
Do you have an account in Vietnam? Well, I used to, I no longer do. It's just gone. Was there money in it? I'm not sure. No way to find out. There are no remote options. Nothing you can do. Now, you might be wondering, okay, I'm not Vietnamese. I haven't got an account in Vietnam. So why does this matter to Americans? Because this is not isolated. Similar moves are happening globally. The same biometric systems being pushed in the US are the systems they used in Vietnam. And we have a precedent now. What happens when governments can freeze accounts and .org/86 million on your retirement savings?
So he asked a good question. What happens when governments can freeze accounts? They can control whatever they want to control. That's exactly what goes on, right? So let's explain.
I invite you to certify your skills as a professional tax preparer with Universal Accounting Center. The opportunity in the tax profession is immense.
Ooh, crypto, let's go. It was signed into law on July 18th by President Trump, and the promise is to make America the crypto capital of the world. But the reality is, it creates federal regulation for stablecoins. Now, it tells us you can issue stablecoins,
So, if you guys haven't been paying too attention to the news, Trump just signed something that's called the Genius Act. This is a blanket, a rollout, a map plan of how to move the money from dollars to digital assets. To have everything on that phone, right? Nothing physical and tangible that you can manipulate and control. Everything will be viewed, everything will be recorded on this ledger, right? This is the move.
Regulation for stablecoins. Now, it tells us who can issue stablecoins: banks, credit unions, basically banks, and Fed-approved institutions.
So we all know about crypto, and anyone basically was able to come up with a coin, right? With this new legislation, the Genius Act, only banks, credit unions, and federal approved institutions will be able to come up with these coins.
If you're a company and you want to start a stablecoin, you need approval from the Treasury, that's political, from the Fed, and from the FDIC, which means there'll be no more new stablecoins because it's almost impossible to get. So the guys who've got the stablecoins, I met one of them in the south of France actually about 2 years ago, very nice chap. He's rolling in it because he's now got a monopoly on the stablecoin. So massive, massive gatekeeping, which is usually only good for, the incumbents. Now you might think, and it's good to have some regulation, Felix, don't be such a cynic. Yes, so every stablecoin.
Oh, and then another note, as far as phasing out cash and moving into this digital system, Dubai has announced to phase out cash by next year.
Coin will now be backed by a US dollar, or actually a treasury bill, which is government debt. Why is that the case? Okay, think about how these stablecoins work. I buy or actually a treasury bill, which is government debt. Why is that the case? Okay, think about how these stablecoins work. I buy a stablecoin. The stablecoin company gets my dollar. Now they want to make money out of the stablecoin. So what do? They put the dollar into government debt, which gets them, 5% interest. Doesn't sound like a lot. Well, we're talking about billions and trillions of dollars. That's rather a lot. There's also regulatory requirements, regular audits. We don't mind that stuff. That's all good stuff. But there is the surveillance component. First of all issuers are subject to the Bank Secrecy Act.
Fair use.
Everybody needs to comply with anti-money laundering, which means
this video is for educational purposes only. Fair use.
They can ask you where your money came from. And it has the technical ability, and this is the key part here, write this down, to freeze, seize, or burn stablecoins when legally required. Someone can go into...
So did y'all hear that? They have the ability to freeze, seize, or burn your stablecoin, right? Something that they created, something they issued to, they have full control over it.
To your bank account, your new digital bank account, they can freeze it, they can steal it, or they can just destroy the money. So what's the real agenda here? This is all about the dollar.
The real agenda is that no man might buy or sell lest he had the mark. That's the real agenda.
Dollar dominance. I'm not against dollar dominance. I like dollar. But it means that US dollar usage globally will grow because everything is backed by these stablecoins.
But not only that, notice how he said US dollar dominance. Think about the debt that we have right now in the US. How many trillions of dollars our debt is, right? So let's say, for example, they create this stable coin, right? We all turn in our cash, we get this stable coin, we get these digital dollars, and then what has happened with all the other digital coins, they crash them, and everyone loses their money. That right there is called the reset. So they're going to reset the system by crashing your money and putting you in the situation where they want you to be while stealing your wealth. Come on, you devil.
So what's the real agenda here? This is all about the dollar. Dollar dominance. I'm not against dollar dominance. I like the dollar. But it means that US dollar usage globally will grow because everything is backed by these stable coins. But really what it does, it creates a control mechanism. Every transaction of the future can be tracked 100% and frozen or seized or burned. So how does this regulation, I don't know why I wrote scam, I must have meant regulation. How does that actually work? Obviously a Freudian slip. So just like oil in the past, it forced countries to buy dollars because oil was only ever bought and sold in dollars. Stable coins do the same thing digitally. Now, the US has $35 trillion in debt, and it desperately needs somebody to buy that debt. Foreign countries aren't buying it.
Pay attention, y'all, how I said they're trying to transfer their debt onto the people. They're trying to steal your money and pay their debt with your hard-earned money.
You know the only foreign countries who are buying US debt? The Brits and the Europeans. The rest?
The Brits and the Europeans, which is AKA Edom, right?
Of the world, the entire rest of the world together is actually selling US debt, but the stablecoin creates
the entire world is selling US debt because they're getting ready to turn on the whore and burn her.
Automated buyer for US debt. It's the only way for stablecoin companies to make money. One of the only ways. And now anybody in the world, all you need is a smartphone, you need a bank account, you can now hold one of these new digital fancy dollars. Now, the dollar is in reality just US debt. That's actually what you earn. So here's how it works. You buy a stablecoin with real dollars, money you earned. Step two, the stablecoin company, the issuer, they take your dollars, they buy treasury bills with it. Now we've got buyers for all of our government debt with it. And then number three, the issuer keeps the interest, you get nothing. So nothing's really changed because that's just how banks operate, isn't it? So your stable dollar is actually just backed by US government debt.
Hey, are you a stock market investor?
And that's crazy, y'all. So stay vigilant, Israel. I hope this video shined a little bit of light on what's to come and how you may be able to move. But understand, the best way to move is to keep these commandments, put on the armor of God, and have faith in Jesus Christ, our deliverer, our savior. And I say, Kwam Yasharallah, keep these commandments. Shalom.